Hey guys, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the full-time show. This is going to be very, very painful hour of surgery. Trying to kind of figure out where it went wrong, what's next. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, send in your videos. The number appears on the screen. Send in your videos. Let us know your thoughts. We'll be getting Jordan on soon. A couple others as well to go kind of. Oh, God, it's going to be painful, man. Go through literally moment by moment what went wrong. I'm going to start with my thoughts really quickly on a couple of things. And I want to kind of make the point that the things I'm going to mention and point out, they're not like, I'm not finger pointing. It's not necessarily blame. But they're factors that I think contributed to tonight. First of all, I know it's a North London derby. And I know it means more than 3 points. And actually, to a lot of people, it means more than even Champions League. A lot of people want to win tonight because it's about beating Tottenham, not even about sealing Champions League football. The thing is, I think to a degree, you could see Arsenal start to play into the emotion. And where I thought the first 10-15 minutes, we were handling the emotion and the occasion quite well, you could see us starting to get into really niggly little battles that we didn't need. There was one moment where I think Gabriel and Kulusevski maybe had a bit of a moment, Arsenal with a free kick. And Gabriel just shook his hand and got on. And I really like that. And I know people might go, get in his face, make it awkward, make it horrible. No, I really like that from Gabriel because it calmed things down. It calmed the situation, it diffused the tension, and you go again. Rob Holding, on the other hand, in his individual battle with Son, was going the other way with it. He wanted to get in his face. He wanted to make it awkward. He wanted to unsettle Son. The problem is he was losing his battle every time. Even when he did get the ball, Son was strong enough to spin him and then try and win a foul. And they had about 2 occasions before the third where Holding eventually gets booked. Rob Holding didn't manage the occasion well enough today whatsoever. A little bit with the Cedric penalty, which, by the way, I think is a penalty. I know there's a lot of debate about it amongst Arsenal fans. With the Cedric situation, it's slightly similar. Now, maybe in hindsight, I could put it down more to an error and a bit of a mistake from Cedric. But when the ball's come into the box, he's not jumped for the ball. He's not jumped to try and win it. He's gone into Son to try and unsettle him. These kind of moments from Holding and Cedric are what I call desperation. The kind of things you do when you desperately want to win. But going back to what I said before about how the emotion of the occasion, wanting to win this game, why it's so big, why it's so important, what it means, we needed to play this game like it wasn't a North London derby. And we needed to acknowledge that, and no, people don't like to hear it, we didn't need to win today. We didn't need to. But those moments, those acts of desperation came from a team that looked like they were desperate not to lose it, but not to win it, to not give Tottenham anything. And sometimes in a game, your man just beats you. They beat you somewhere. They get something on you. They score a goal, but you regroup and you go again. Once you go down to 10 men, you don't have that opportunity. Now, I've talked a lot about the players. I'll go on to Arteta very quickly. I think ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, there wasn't a lot Arteta could do. I think you look at the first 15 minutes, we deployed a good press. We were nicking the ball off them quite well in the first 15, 20 minutes. I thought we were playing it around quite nicely. And obviously, I couldn't hear the crowd, but I think they settled it down a little bit, Arsenal. They settled the occasion, which is what I wanted from them. But failure to acknowledge what Spurs do best, especially when, and I will give credit to Spurs because all week I've been giving them credit and saying they're a good team who can hurt you. But we know where their main hitters are. It's Kane and Son. And to put Cedric and Holding down that side to deal with Son, I thought was very naive. I've got all the respect for saying, we're Arsenal, we're big Arsenal, we're going to come to the North London derby, we're going to do our thing, and Spurs will have to cope with us. Sure, but again, we didn't need to win. Winning would have been a bonus. Winning would have been party scenes tonight, but we didn't have to. And once again, we went trying to do our thing. And you only have to tweak a couple things. You only have to tweak a couple things here and there to make it, just to show respect to Tottenham. Just to show respect to what they've got going the other way. And Son gets into the box, wins a penalty. Son wins the yellow, the fouls, and ultimately gets Rob Holding sent off with 2 yellow cards. And then he gets his third. We didn't adapt for what he can do whatsoever. And And even though he wasn't running in behind, even though he wasn't tearing us apart with his runs and his driving with the ball and all that, he was running that game. He was causing us problems. Only we were trying to deal with it before it became a problem. So I've kind of had a bit of a moan there. That is ultimately where I think the game was lost. We're going to get people in. I see some comments saying stop blaming the ref. I don't know if it's comments of people in the comment section. I'm not blaming the ref. It was a penalty for me. It was 2 yellow cards. Simple as that. And I know a few Arsenal fans are talking about the Son one. It didn't really look like too much. Listen, it doesn't look great, but I don't think it was too much. Whereas I think the holding one's blatant. We've got some clips coming in, guys. That's my piece on the matter. Going to bring Jordan in next as well to break down where it went wrong. That's going to be painful. Going to be scrolling through Twitter to see what people are saying about it, what Arteta's saying about it, and yeah, we'll break it down. So let's hear what you guys are saying.
Look, I think tonight it was awful, don't get me wrong. It was shocking. Holding, he's been very solid.
Hey, Arsenal fan TV. What can I say about Arsenal? They did what they could do. The boys did what they could do. You know what I'm saying? I have nobody to blame but Arteta right now, and I'm blaming Arteta just on the fact that he chose to play Rob Holding, not because he got a red card. But I can't see Rob holding what do you call it? Song. Speed-wise, I can't see that. Only Nuno Tavares could do that. But the man did not trust the guy, and he needs to trust the guy first to start actually developing this kid.
Tottenham 3, Arsenal 0. Look, the senior players really let the younger lads down today. The younger players have been absolutely vitalising this team all season. So, just have to put the hats off to them. We're still 1 point ahead. 2 more games to go. Look, we obviously wanted to win this game, but look, it is what it is. We can do this.
Hey Robbie, an incredibly devastated Arsenal fan here from New York City. And my thoughts at full time are that this game really encapsulated the fact that we're kind of lacking a leader. You know, that game really showed our lack of leadership. And I think going into the last 2 games of the season, the most pivotal games we've had in recent history, we're really going to need somebody to step up. I don't think Xhaka did enough today. I don't think Odegaard did enough today. I don't think Ramsdale did enough today. We need a guy that's really going to set the tone, and we just didn't have that today.
AFTV, Stephen and Alexander from Pennsylvania. Whew, tough loss, can we say? Never feels good losing to that lot. Look, we have ourselves to blame, but the ref certainly didn't do us any favors. I don't think it was a penalty. I don't even think that Tottenham fans or players were complaining about it being a penalty. And even the ones who were not sure what the penalty was given for. So, look, we win the next 2 games. Nobody cares about this result. Our end goal remains the same. So, come on, you Gunners. Still believe in you. What do you think?
Yeah, just like Troop said, even if they do win today, it's game on. We're still in the driver's seat. If we win our next 2 games, we can forget about this one. But it's like our heads dropped after a couple of decisions that didn't go our way. I feel like the red card, the second one, Holding, that was kind of stupid of him to do that. The first one, it's unlucky. Penalty, kind of unlucky. And another day, it could have went our way, but it didn't. But we just need to win our next 2 games. We're in top 4. We could lose this one 10-0, but it still won't matter. We can't feel sorry for ourselves, just like Arteta said, and we just need to win the next 2 games, and we can still do this. So come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners. Let's go Monday against Newcastle.
Let's go.
Hey, amazing all you gooners around the world who stayed up, got up, whatever to watch Arsenal and support your team through thick and thin. That was a painful one tonight. Unfortunately, we have to talk about it because we talk about it when we win We've got to talk about when we lose. There's something you wanted to point out, Jordan. What was it you wanted to...
So one of the fans that sent them in a video there was talking about, none of the Spurs players reacted to the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I hear a couple of our fans and colleagues and friends here said the same thing, there was no reaction from even the Spurs players. I always think it's dangerous to start assuming that the referee should make a decision based off of whether the fans react or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because then if all the Spurs players had reacted to it, does that then mean it is a penalty?
Yeah.
So I don't buy this idea that you react off how the players react. The referee's got to make a decision to make, and I think he's got to do that irrespective of whether 10 players are hounding him or no one reacts at all. General thoughts on the match. I think the better team won overall, but I think it was going to go that way when you have a 2-0 lead and you're playing against 10 men. You said earlier on, I mean, I don't want to repeat any of what you said too much, James, but for me, it was very much about our approach to this game. I think it was me and you and maybe Laurie were the only three that were saying we don't need to win this game, and I think that might have been misinterpreted as saying we should play for a draw.
Yeah,
we're not saying we should play for a draw, but we're just saying play smart, box clever. And what I meant by that was start the game well, but be aware that a point in the grand scheme of things is like a win. So for me, it was very much about just getting out without losing. But I think the emotion of it's a North London derby, it's Spurs, we've got to win, we've got to beat them, I think overrode the bigger picture. Right,
so this is a big point, and I think I've kind of held back a little bit from really saying it the way I want to say it, but I think too many people got caught up in the romance of we can seal it at their place, it's the North London derby, we've got to win, we're Arsenal, we got to go. Listen, I get all that. And I love every fan who holds this club to the highest of standards. And I respect all of that. But there's got to be a point at which you just stop and you just sensibly just think about this. Now, people can say, because for some people it is confusing. So what are you saying? We should have parked the bus? No. It just means when those moments come in a game, and it's split second, but it all comes from a mindset. Those split second moments of, I don't think I'm going to get this ball, but I might. In a game like today, you don't go for it. You just go, okay, cool, I'm not getting there. Now, if you're up for it and you're at it and you're playing at your best and you're going to get to that ball first and you're going to win it, you're going to unsettle the opposition, great. There are a few moments in the first half we did that. We pressed them, we won the ball back. Gabriel won a few of his individual duels. Actually, I thought Rob Holding started quite well. Fine. But the minute the Holding Son thing became a grappling on the ground, and suddenly an elbow's here and you're throwing their weapon. Rob Holding should have stepped away and just gone, I'm not getting involved in this.
Don't need to.
Because I don't need this. I don't need to be involved in this. And I mentioned the moment where Gabriel and Kulusevski had a little bit of a moment. Gabriel wins a foul call, shakes his hand, gets on. That for me was much better game management of the situation and keeping it calm. Now, I've watched this Cedric thing back. I've got it on my timeline here. I think to a degree is a little unfortunate, to a degree. But I still think it comes down to a ball coming into the box. And we might as well talk about this moment properly now. It comes from a ball into the box that Cedric, I think, has gone, I'm not winning this header. So I'm just going to kind of run into the area a bit clumsily. And it's hard to kind of explain what Cedric should do. But if you're not going to win your header, you're not going to win it. I think you jump and you make yourself a bit of a nuisance. But when you see when you see it back, there's too much to say to the ref. He's just gone into Son. He's just gone into Son. What did you make of it? I mean, do you think it's a penalty?
So on first viewing, I thought it wasn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was. I thought it was the first viewing. I thought that's poor defending. You've backed into him. It's a foul. It looks messy, it looks harsh, but it's a foul. But then I looked at it again at half time and thought, I'm not actually sure if it is a penalty. So that is kind of probably where I do disagree. I don't think it's a foul. I think it's bad defending, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a foul for me. My bigger issue, James, is the reaction to it.
Sure.
Things go against you. You may see the goal, you may get a yellow card, unfortunately, even a red card. But for me, and this was the two words I used before the game management.
Yeah.
Things may not go your way, but but then how do you manage the game after that moment? So you can see the penalty that you may feel is unfair. Fine. At that point, it's been a theme for Arsenal for the last 15 years, I think, managing games at key points. We're the worst team that I can think of that for conceding goals.
I agree with that.
Between the 40th and 45th minute. We just let them really bad goals at really bad times. And for me, that was like, okay, 1-0 down. We've been wronged, but okay, cool. We've still got 11 players on the pitch. It's 1-0. It's Spurs. You know, we nibble a little bit, they'll concede. But it was the second goal goes in before the red card, right? Second goal goes in.
Red card then, yeah.
So it's 1-0 and we're down to 10 men. Even at that point, for me, it's not game over. But again, keep your head, get to half time. Just get to half time, regroup. There's new formation. Let's stay in the game. But 2-0, 10 men, it's done. So for me, it wasn't even necessarily the goal, so the penalty or the red card that for me, in isolation, they're shocking and they're poor decisions, granted. But it's more about how we reacted after those things that I think, that concerns me more.
Yeah.
And hearing Mikel Arteta, I'm seeing the quotes from Mikel Arteta's interview with Sky after the game. It's a bit embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree.
He's defending
I don't like it.
hard. I'm like, there's a time to do the whole, we got done over. This isn't it. I would argue, James, the second yellow is a straight red. It's a straight red. Do you know what I mean? And to your earlier point about knowing when to go hard and when not, if he's beating you for pace and he's clearly quicker than you, just let him go.
Yeah.
Just let him go through. If he scores, he scores. Just let him go. So for me, it's that kind of game management that I think we're still very, very poor at. And we've got a big job on now to kind of turn this around, in my opinion.
I agree. We've got some super chats. Denham says Newcastle and Everton are cup finals now. We move. And that is the thing. Ultimately, it's in our hands. Guy says the game was ruined by two players, Holding and Cedric. The rest of the team were not bad. Rob Holding has officially erased his man of the match performance against West Ham. Wow. Michael says best summer signing. Top psychologist. That's what he's saying Arsenal need. Let's talk about the red card. We've got some clips coming in a sec, but I want to talk about that red card and the whole Holding Son thing, because I'm not really feeling like I'm going to put all this on Arteta, this performance, this result. Could he have done things differently, better, whatever? Yeah, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. I do think the one thing though, and I don't want people to go, well, it's easy to say that now. Watch the Predicted 11 show. And you'll see that I was calling this from minute one. But the key thing is, most Arsenal fans are calling for this. It's a little bit like when he played Xhaka at left back. Do you remember? Tavares had a shocker against Palace. And we're all saying, whatever happens, just stick with Tavares, keep Xhaka in midfield. He didn't. He decided to mix it up and we lost. Again, the theme of this was Tomiyasu on Son. Make sure, go do what we did against Chelsea, where our right back, who was Ben White in that game, is kind of actually a third centre-back. Then he's kind of playing in that Son space, and then maybe Saka right wing-back or whatever it is you want to do there. But he didn't. And the one thing I'd say in defence of Son is, not Son, Holding, the way he was playing the game, so touch-tight, to the point where even where Son pulled wide, Holding was all the way out there, meaning Gabriel's in acres of space by himself. That is the one thing I think you can put on Arteta and say, yeah, Holding had moment of madness and didn't deal with the one-on-one battle well at all. But Arteta put him in that one-on-one battle. Arteta said, I'm trusting you to go do it. And the other cover he had next to him was Cedric. And I just think in that situation, cool, White's not fit. I know what everyone's saying, but Ben White's not fit, so Holding has to play. Yeah, but watch how far wide he's dragged all game. If you've got Tomiyasu there, you tighten it up a little bit, and you make that a one-on-one battle between Tomiyasu and Son, I think it's a different game. That is the one thing I look at and I think, come on, Mikel. Come on. Like, he's done so well across a lot of this season, but we all knew that was the battle we couldn't lose on the pitch.
I agree, and I was speaking to, after the game, Helen and Charlene, and they agree that they felt that tactically the mistake that Arteta made was not putting Tomiyasu on Son. Tomiyasu is my favourite player at the club because he's just consistent. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
He's not even fully fit yet, and I still would have trusted him to have dealt with Son. He's quicker than Holding. He very rarely loses his battles, whether it's aerially or on the ground. The only issue with that then is if you put Tomiyasu on Son, you've got to change the formation then, because then you've got to put him either as a 2 in a 4, as one of the two, or you go to a back 3, and that fundamentally changes the whole system.
Right. So absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. He wanted to stick to his principles and go and take the game to Spurs, and I get that. But it was only 2 weeks ago that we saw it work against Chelsea, a little tweak where he went, okay, Holding's going to come in and we'll have White at right back. And we're just going to tighten it. So basically 3 centre-backs. And Tomiyasu basically would have played that White role. Saka dropping in and just feeling out that first 20, 30 minutes and not giving Son that... not giving Son the joy he wants in the game. And I actually think Arsenal played well for a lot of that first 20, 30 minutes. Even just before the capitulation, let's say. But Son was winning his battle with Holding. And I think he could have tweaked it, personally.
I think he could have. I don't necessarily blame the defeat tonight on Mikel Arteta.
No, neither do I.
I, as you know, have been a very big supporter of Mikel Arteta. I think he's got flaws and things he needs to work on. And I'll call him out when I think I see those flaws not being worked on. But I'm generally a supporter of his. And at the end of the game, everyone was saying, even Laurie, who's a very big critic of Mikel Arteta, I'm not going to blame Arteta today. I arguably would, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because it goes back to the point about the red card. We've had way too many red cards this season and last season, James. And at what point do you have to start looking at the manager and saying, how many more... what is it that you're doing in training or in your team talks that is not getting through to these players, that by going down to 10 men, you're killing us?
Yeah.
This is not like back in the day when we had Vieira, Henry, Bold, Adams, big, lots of quality players where we went down to 10 men. We were arguably better with 10 men back in the day. We haven't got that quality anymore. So 10 men, you're significantly harming us. So something he's doing or not doing is not getting through to the team that lets them know, guys, we can't afford to go down to 10 men. Especially today. Any other North London derby, a bit of bite, a bit of I can accept it. But today, box smart. And I think that is where I do put a bit of heat on Arteta, because something... today in isolation, I wouldn't blame him, but today is part of a theme of games this season whereby we've had too many players sent off needlessly. These aren't last-ditch yellow cards or red cards. Something's going wrong. They're not listening to him, or he's giving them the wrong instructions. And that would be, if I was going to be critical of him at all tonight, it would be, this is another game where it's another red card. And that, for me, has to light his door. Yeah,
I completely agree. Guys, keep sending your clips in. Let us know your thoughts. The number appears on the screen. We want to hear your thoughts. Unfortunately, after we come back, we're going to have to talk about the second goal and what happened after that. But let's hear what you guys are saying.
Didn't go our way today, but sure, that's the way football is. We dust ourselves off. We move on to Newcastle now on Monday, and we pick up 3 points there. I thought the penalty was a penalty, stupidly, from Cedric, and I thought the second yellow card a bit harsh, but sure, you're an experienced player. Like, I didn't think Rob Holland should have been starting. Should have started off with Ben White, so he should have.
Well, that was depressing. But at the end of the day, even when we were down to 10 men, if we hadn't conceded that goal at the start of the second half, we actually could have done Spurs as Spurs, and maybe got a point out of that. Can't really fault anyone that ended up on the pitch at the end, apart from Cedric, for the penalty. But just puts a lot of pressure on ourselves. I was kind of expecting this. Yeah, we move.
Fucking Arsenal. Ruined my first day. I mean, I think they're gonna ruin many more first days. I stopped watching at 3-0. What's the point? They're all bunch of bottle jobs. Rob Holding is terrible. He had 2 good games and people think he's Rob Holdini. Nah. Cedric, awful. If Southampton don't want him, why should we? Xhaka kept passing the ball to Tottenham players. And Arteta, I was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, but if he doesn't get top 4, he definitely has to go. Leeds go to 10 men and they fight, they get a goal back. We go 10 men, Santa Claus FC comes back to town and gives Tottenham 2 more goals. I mean, absolutely terrible. It's better to go and enjoy your day. Don't let them do this to you. Big up AFTV.
See, last week I said it. I said Arsenal probably will not be able to beat Tottenham. I knew it. And I knew that sometimes we cannot keep our edge. And that's kind of what happened to us today. So yeah, and honestly, I don't blame Arteta today. I blame Holding for not being able to keep his head. I mean, he was really kind of ruffling up Son, and the referee wasn't having it. So that really happens. Other than that, I don't blame Tottenham today. They were a really good team. And, we need to do better. We need to find a way to optimize these boys to play a better game. Shout out to Arteta for what he's done the whole season, but no. This sucks. I cannot blame Arteta, to be honest. I blame Holding for not keeping his head, because I think we would have at least drew their match today. But it's okay. I'm an Arsenal fan for the rest of my life, and there's nothing's going to change that. Up Gunners, man. Let's go. Jones from Richmond, Texas.
All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. I want to be more energetic than this, but we have just lost.
Guys, we're back. We're back.
We're back. Yeah. Listen, we are still ahead of them in the table, but before we get on to all that and the reasons to be positive, we got a little bit more to talk about in this game. They get the second goal. I think my biggest frustration with the second goal, because they can happen. I think my biggest frustration is that it's the exact same goal we conceded against Leeds. They win the first ball and there's someone at the back post. A lot of people were looking at Nketiah, but I feel a bit sorry for Nketiah because I think he's in that kind of no man's land. And it will be by design. He'll have been told to be there. Where he's not going to... The ball's never going to come to him to clear it there. But he's not on the post to deal with anything either. So I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know whether he didn't do what he was meant to do or whether... I don't know.
We don't even know if he was meant to be there. 'Cause that wasn't long after that. Was that after the red card?
Yeah.
So maybe at that point we haven't actually readjusted to.
Yeah.
Okay, who's meant to be where on the corners?
Yeah. Is it just one of those? I mean, we've been very good off set pieces this season.
I think wasn't that only our second? I think Leeds was the first set piece in the league we've conceded.
I'm gonna be really annoying and ask you to shuffle in a little bit because. There we go. Now, yeah.
It's not. It doesn't look good, the goal, but equally, it's not one that I'm going to be overly ranting and raving about.
We don't need to tear our hair out over every little thing that went wrong in this game. We know where the key moments are. Yeah. They scored from a set piece.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm just repeating myself now, but going back to my initial point, it's more about how we manage that and just having those characters and leaders on the pitch that just kind of like, okay, we're under the cosh here. We just got to ride this out. Just give it a 5-10 minute spell. They've got a corner. Keep your heads, guys. You know where you got to be. You've got to be there. Tuck in here. You on the. And I just don't think that happened. And that is the bigger frustration for me than any kind of isolated thing that went wrong. Because things will go wrong in a game. Especially in the North London derby. It's about how you respond to those things going wrong. And we didn't respond very well.
Half time comes. You're hoping Arsenal might keep it tight and see if they can do something. Nope. Second half starts appallingly. Son gets his goal. I don't really have a lot to say about it. Maybe that's the one moment where Tomiyasu could have done a little bit better, got a bit closer to him.
Agree.
But Kane does really well on Gabriel, who I thought largely had a good game. Gabriel. And I think this is, and it's going to drive everyone mad in the comment section. Me saying this, but what more have I got to lose tonight? I actually thought a lot of the individual performances across the 90 weren't bad.
Yes.
I think really key moments were decisive, and once you're down to 10, it's really hard. I saw a moment where the ball, Saka launches the ball in the second half. Nketiah wins his header, then outpaces Dyer and maybe Sanchez, I think, to get to the ball. Comes inside, does really well, and there's no one there. And you're sitting there going, that was really good by Eddie. But it doesn't amount to anything. No. And I thought Saka and Martinelli had a few moments. But again, it was kind of like punching smoke. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally know what you mean. I mean, apart from Holding, no one had a shocker.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree. I mean, Cedric not great on the penalty.
There was a few poor performances, but no one had a shocker.
Yeah.
And once you go down to 10 men that early in a game, I think everyone's level and rating goes down a notch or two. So it's hard to perform better when you've gone down to 10 men. But again, I think we started the game well, and that first 15 minutes, nothing really happened. It was boring.
Yeah.
Perfect. I didn't want to say
Yeah,
it extreme.
first 15 were good, yeah.
We didn't need it to be an exciting end-to-end game. We needed it to be just a boring pass left, pass right, keep possession, prod a little bit. No, that was working for us. The minute we lost our heads was the minute that I think Spurs got encouragement and we lost our heads. And I think the focus, and I get why it's North London derby, blah, 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 but the focus for me was too much on Spurs. And the focus should have been on Champions League football. I think if that was any other team, I think we might have treated it a bit differently.
Yeah.
But because it was Spurs, we were intent on getting back into the match.
We didn't chase the game like that against West Ham.
No way. No way. We were patient and we waited. And I just think that Arteta's team talk at half time, I don't know what he said, it didn't work. Obviously didn't work, and that was kind of game
hard,
time.
isn't it?
It was poor.
We did have a stat come through, big thanks to Opta, and I think this sums up everything we were saying. I know it feels like I'm flogging a dead horse, just like Rob Holding is just there, and
allow him.
Yeah, but we are going to read it because it's, if not incredibly disappointing, at least an interesting stat. Rob Holding made 4 fouls against Spurs leading up to his dismissal, with all 4 of them coming on Heung-min Son. His 4 fouls are the most he has ever made in a single Premier League game, despite only playing 33 minutes. And this is what I mean. It's very easy, I think, to say, well, it's easy to say he had a shocker, and that stat doesn't sound great, and I think he did. But I don't like the position he was put in tactically in that game. Is kind of me repeating myself, but having my final say on that matter. So what else happens? 3-0. It's game over. Arsenal have a couple moments. I think I'm really clutching at straws here. Really, really bottom of the barrel. This is... Do you like Marmite?
No, hate it.
Oh, I quite like Marmite. Have you ever had a jar of something and just... like you are digging
the last
you're digging
remnants of
the
it, the
little
bottom of
yeah, that's what this is right now. At 3 I was thinking this could be 5 or 6,
and it could have been,
and somewhere, whether it was Spurs letting us off, the referee taking pity, which I think he did on a couple of decisions, or the players finding some heart and just going, we cannot let this get any worse. Listen, they battered us, but 4, 5, 6s could have been really, really damaging. I mean, it's a dumb question. Where do we go from here? But a couple of injuries to worry about.
Well,
Newcastle.
Just before you get to the Newcastle game, I just think finally in regards to this game in the second half, I think it was a combination of all 3 things you mentioned. I think it was a combination of Spurs going from gear 3 to gear 2. I think it was a combination of us going from gear 2 to gear 3 and thinking, okay, now it's just about not getting humiliated. Sure. And the referee, I think, was a little bit favourable to us in that second half with a few 50. I think we got all the 50-50s in that second half. I was concerned that psychologically, if we get out of here with 4-5-0 defeat, that could really wound us for the Newcastle match. That didn't happen. Saka had a couple of Saka had one good chance, as did Odegaard. But at that point, it would have only been merely a consolation. And I just think at that point, 3-0 down, I'm thankful now looking back that, you know what, they didn't capitulate, it didn't get messy, because it could have.
Sorry guys, I've neglected the comments a little bit. Let me dip into it. AL James is his name, and he's addressed me. He says, James, you've spoken about systematic fouling previously and how you think it should still be punished accordingly, no matter who's the main culprit. I have said that. We should have gone systematic because it's allowed. So I think what you're basically saying is the job Holding was doing on Son, it should have been Holding leaves one on him. Then maybe El Nene's passed on to El Nene. Okay. Then it's passed on to Cedric. I hear you. The problem is we set up to almost man-mark their front 3. Yeah. And so it was always Holding versus Son. I think what he's referring to there works better, almost like in the midfield. And City are really good at it. If say when Saka was playing against them, Ake might commit the first, but then Rodri might come across and commit the second, or Sterling might drop deep and commit the third. That's kind of where they're a little bit better at it. I think what happened with Holding is that we simply wanted to play our game, and we thought we'll do our thing, and then we're going to trust Holding, and he lost the battle.
And I think that also works better when you're playing against a team that has one really good player. Do you know what I mean? And ideally in the midfield, but if you've got Son, Kane, it's difficult to identify who do we really bully. I think if it's a team and you know that they're a good team, but they've only got really one top player, you're like, right, we're taking it in turns on that player.
Sure.
They haven't just got one top player. Do you know what I mean? So it's harder. One, because he's a forward, but two, because you can't share the fouls around on him, and then you've still got to do with Kane, for example. So.
Yeah. Jeremy mentions that we are missing Partey and Tierney, and stop making excuses. I see it coming already. But Jeremy raises an important point. We did go in. I know they miss Romero, but we have gone in with two pretty key players missing. White obviously not fit enough to say. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. But do we need to apply a little more context?
No.
You can say no, yeah.
No, because the same errors that were made by individuals today, I could see that error being made by Partey. I could see Partey doing something stupid.
Could you?
I could.
See where I disagree with the question I've asked. The reason I don't let it off was it's not like Kulusevski obliterated us down the left. It's not like Spurs completely controlled midfield. We can get our foot on it. Those are where I see the Tierney and Partey absences. Sure, being key. Where we lost it was just
that team.
Those early errors.
That 11 that started is good enough to get a point in that game.
I agree.
They just got to be a bit more intelligent. I don't think it's about a significant dip in the quality of the players that came in for those two. I just think it was down to players getting caught up in the emotion and losing their heads. Less about the quality, I think. That team can get a point at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Giuseppe says, agree, James. Super Tommy would have kept Son quiet. I thought he was quite good.
Tomiyasu.
Yeah,
I think he was the only player that, I think if you're doing ratings, I'm sure you guys will do later on, I think he would have got the highest rating. And that's why he's my favourite player, because I always get what I expect from him. He's always a 7, maybe not today, but he's normally a 7 out of 10, and that's what you get from him. No, Tomiyasu, I didn't think did anything particularly wrong or bad today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm seeing some people talking about crediting Spurs. Listen, they deserve credit, and they'll get credit. Not on this channel.
Yeah, this is the wrong platform, guys. Come on.
You know, and yeah, that's me being salty. We just lost a North London derby. Spurs did some things very, very good today. But if you're coming here expecting me to break down everything they did really well, no, they did some stuff very well.
What
well
I will
done
say
to
though
them.
is
That's it.
Spurs didn't necessarily play really, really well. We shot ourselves in the foot and they capitalised. Now you may argue that is playing really, really well, maybe, but I don't think it was a case of. You said earlier on, Spurs actually were just came out the gate and were just on us and just battered us, and that's why they won the game. They won the game because, we shot ourselves in the knee.
What do you make of this from Antonio Conte? He said, Mikel Arteta is a really good coach. He's just started to do this job, and I listen to him complain a lot. He has to be focused more on his team and not to complain because he's just started his work. He has to be calm and try to continue to work.
There's something in that. Now, I don't want to single out Arteta in this because Klopp does it, Pep does it, Conte, they all whine and moan and cry about decisions. And if it's the manager of your club, you slightly cringe. But he does do it a lot. He does do it a lot. And for me, you've got to pick your moments when you give the BS excuses in the post-match. Today wasn't that time. It was quite clear Holding was culpable for what he did. It's indefensible. Save your, I'm going to come to the cameras and talk rubbish and defend my player card for a time when it's a little bit more ambiguous. Today it wasn't. Today it was quite clear your centre-back cost you, to some degree, the match. So just, I'm not saying come out and batter him, but don't come out and do the whole, we've been done over. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of fans on Twitter and online, and let's be honest, a few fans that were watching the watch along with us today, blaming the referee. I can't do that.
No,
I don't think the referee, apart from the penalty, got anything wrong.
The only thing I'd say is what I don't like about that Conte quote, because I think he's got a little bit of a point, but what I don't like about the Conte quote is he's just started, he's new, focus on your work. So what annoys me about that is, it doesn't matter if you're day one on the job, or you've been doing this for 25 years and you're, say, Roy Hodgson, a veteran who's been doing it, veteran of the game, who's been doing this for a long, long time. Well, for me, it doesn't matter. You're there. That's your job, and you do what you got to do. It doesn't matter whether you're day one or day two or whatever. Conte was months into the Tottenham job before he started saying, I might not be here, and listen, every manager does it. They're all sore losers. They're all sore losers, and they're going to complain. And we saw, what did Pep Guardiola say the other day? The media want Liverpool to win. And what was Klopp saying? I don't like Conte's style. They all complain. And I think personally, I don't really rate that from Conte, because he is number one master of the complaining. But he's a winner. He hates losing, so I get it. And Arteta, if he's trying to... Do you know who was really good at it? Jose Mourinho. He would always deflect from his players.
100%.
But I think in the change room, he was always saying, you effed up. What are you doing?
You call them out.
Because he wants to divert the attention. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on. But yeah, interesting quotes. Super chat from SFam says, blame Arteta. He put Holding on Son, who everyone knows dives to buy fouls. Arteta should have defended deep and countered, but didn't. I blame him tonight. I understand a little bit where that's coming from. Yeah, apparently according to James Bench, says that Conte is sort of basically saying that he's only offering advice, but he's doing the whole, he's a really good coach, but stop complaining. We've got some more clips, guys. I'm going to say a big thank you to Jordan.
Thank you very much.
We'll end, see who's in the building, get some other thoughts before we round off. I've got to say, I'm thankful for this job because I find it therapeutic.
Totally.
I can go home and leave it all here.
Same.
But I hope it helps you guys. I know it's painful, but we talk through it and we go again. And we're going to have a little talk about the league table, because whatever happened today, the league table still looks nicer for us.
We'll take it.
So let's see what you guys are saying.
Hi guys, very disappointed match. I was expecting a lot, but yeah, it's not that Spurs played amazing. It's just the individual mistakes that cost us the match. But I'm sure we will turn it around. It's just this time we don't have the liberty to play 3 matches in a row and then turn around. We have to do it now.
Greetings from Poland. Unfortunately, we bottled the biggest game of our season. Lack of discipline had cost us. The stupidity from Holding is unforgivable. I'm blaming Arteta. The starting lineup was wrong, and I'm not confident going into the Newcastle game. Unfortunately, Tottenham have better players, and they have a Conte who is doing an amazing job at White Hart Lane. So fingers crossed, but I feel that we do not have enough capacity within our team that is capable of handling the pressure and win the last 2 games. Take care. Bye.
Big up AFTV and all Arsenal fans. Our experienced players let us down. And the most frustrating thing is that before the penalty we were actually the better team. Holding doesn't know how to defend, doesn't know football. He was sent off in the first half and he's the experienced one. I'm not surprised. These players like Xhaka, El Neni, Cedric, they have something to offer, but they are just inconsistent. Last season, after the Chelsea game, we were the 3rd best team in the league since Christmas. This season I expected us to get the top 4. We had no Europe, brought 6 new players, only the 38 league games to focus on. And to lose like that in the most important game of the season, yet another 3-0 loss, and Arteta keeps breaking the worst records in this club. Pick up Saka, Martinelli and Tomiyasu, the 3 professionals who gave it all on the pitch, and I think we need a proper replacement for Tierney next season. For 3 years he's been injury prone and wasn't available in decisive games. Last year we had to play Xhaka as a left back, and today we sacrificed Tomiyasu there. Bring Cucurella from Brighton at all costs, and this team needs many additions.
And we're back. How you doing, Laurie?
I've had better days.
Yep.
I'm sure you have had too.
Yep. But I got some good news for you.
Yeah.
Jordan and I, if I say so myself, expertly broke down where things went. No, I'm kidding. But we broke down where things went right and wrong.
Cathartic breakdown.
Incredibly cathartic. I actually mentioned that before we came back to it. And therapeutic, I think, was the word I used. It, but cathartic's better. It's a great word for it. Just to talk it through and try and make sense of it.
Alleviate yourself of some of the stress. Sometimes talking bad experiences over does help to alleviate the.
We got through most of it. So now we're here to talk about what's next. And what's next, despite everything, what's next looked okay for Arsenal. Away game against Newcastle.
Hold on, let me stop you right there.
Okay, go on.
I may be going off topic to what you wanted to do, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Okay, go on.
In the immediate aftermath of the game, the managers made some remarks, which, to be honest,
we discussed this.
I kind of expected it because it's classic deflection tactics in my view. But even so, I'm looking at that and I'm shaking my head, bro. Like he's seems to be putting it fairly and squarely on the well, not fairly, but squarely on the referee. And I think that is a bit of a dereliction of responsibility and duty, although I can understand what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
My bullet point thoughts. I don't agree with Arteta, but I do think it's pure deflection tactics. Conte's called him out for it a little bit.
Really?
And said I've heard Arteta complain a lot since he's been in the job, blah, blah, blah. But
shots fired.
I think that's incredibly hypocritical of Antonio Conte, the man who Inter Milan just won the Coppa Italia yesterday. He ditched them because he didn't think he was going to get the summer he wants, and now they're in a title race and have won a trophy.
Well, listen, he was about to ditch Tottenham a few months back.
He was. They lost at Burnley. He lost his head, was telling the press he was about to leave.
Yeah,
so
I'm not good enough for this job.
He is exactly. So he is well and truly one for a nice complaint. But I get what he's doing. It's mind games. I get what Arteta's doing. It's deflection tactics. And I think there's no point putting too much stock into any of that.
Okay. Fair enough. Right.
But yes.
Right, so you carry on.
Well, I mean, it's to ask you. Newcastle. And actually, before I go into it, we do have a super chat from Jamar. Says, we started the game really well, but after the penalty and the red card, we were out of shape. I think we could have defended early in the game and see out the first half. They had to win, and we didn't.
Can we clear something up?
Yes.
With the penalty. So, because obviously we were doing the watch along, we didn't have the benefit of hearing from the pundits and the commentators and everyone else. Was the penalty given for Cedric's collision?
To this very moment, I don't know. I actually don't know what it was given for. I think it's been given for Cedric going into the back of, or into the side of Son. Look, I've watched it from different angles. There's one angle where I think that looks unbelievably harsh. And then there's another angle where I think it looks stone wall. But that's football, isn't it?
I must admit, at the time, when we were watching it here, and don't forget, we're Arsenal fans, we were emotional, and we all jumped up, oh, no way, that's harsh. Then I saw the replay. And I know things always look better, look worse when they're slowed down and you watch it again and again. But I have to say, man, that, put it this way, this is how I always like to view these things. Had that have been at the other end, being an Arsenal fan, I would have been appealing for a penalty.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will.
There was a really good comment. I don't want to lose it. I'm so sorry. Someone said we need to stop acting like Newcastle away is Anfield or the Etihad. Here we go from Sally. Yeah, we need to stop thinking Newcastle away is Anfield or the Etihad. But we know it's a big game. We know that they are in much better form, and Eddie Howe's really turned it around. It's their last home game of the season under the lights at St James's Park. A lot of players, for them, their last opportunity to show that they can be a part of what they're rebuilding now. We know they're going to spend a lot of money in the years to come. So, not an easy game at all, but a game you'd expect Arsenal to do something in, and an opportunity to almost fire shots back at Spurs. Do you know what I mean? If we get through that and Spurs go, oh my God, they've only got Everton at home left. Do you know what I mean? There's an opportunity
I agree with
for
you,
them.
but I must admit, James, I do have some reservations about that game.
Yeah, me too.
And the reservations I have is that, yes, on balance, we should win it. But when you look at what happened tonight, the way we imploded mentally, I'm seeing quite a fragile side mentally now. What if we go up there and then we're a goal down after 15 minutes or something like that? You see what I mean? It's like, I'm backing them to get the win, But at the same time, I've got to admit, man, I'm nervous about that game because it showed tonight that mentally we're not quite there now, and I'm saying that not for the first time this season.
Sure.
There are still mental fragilities in this team.
But I really am scraping here for positives. It shows how key that weekend, where the weekend just gone, where Liverpool took points off Spurs. We beat Leeds.
Spurs took points off Liverpool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yes. The point is they didn't win.
Yeah.
We opened that gap. And no one wanted to hear it because it sounded negative and it was the wrong mentality and mindset, whatever. But it did mean that defeat wasn't going to end the season or take it out of our hands. Troops, I thought, summed up really well in the preview, where Robbie said, whoever wins this derby, it's advantage them or whatever. And Troop said, no. Or I can't remember how he worded it. But basically what Troop said was, now if we win, it's done. If Tottenham win, it's game on. And that's essentially what's happened. They've reignited the race for top four again, but we still stay in the lead. How do
you say they've reignited the race? But how much of what happened tonight was down to us not doing our due diligence? I mean, does Cedric have to do that?
Yeah,
really?
No, I hear that.
He doesn't.
I hear that.
Rob Holding certainly doesn't need to do what he done, and those were the pivotal moments of that game. So in other words, it's not like we were like outplayed and styled on. No, we made two very serious mistakes, especially the second one is like almost criminal what Rob Holding did tonight. Where's this aggression come from, by the way? What's going on?
Yeah, well, he's shown it at times, like against Diego Costa in the FA Cup final about 5-6 years ago. But I do know what you mean. It was really strange.
But you know what it smacked of to me? It smacked of a man that knew that he was losing the battle with Son on the pitch and resorted to stuff that whereby it looked like he lost his head. Yeah. But anyway, listen.
How do the players shake this off now
well, this is what I mean,
for Newcastle? What would you say? Yeah, you're Arteta. You got the boys in there. They're deflated, right? They've had a horrible atmosphere. They've had a horrible defeat. This one will sting. But what do you say to them?
Well, the first thing, I'm going to come in to the dressing room tonight, and I'm going to say, "Did you see what I just done out there?" That's what I'm seriously. I'm going to say, "I just fucking covered for you, lot." I went out there and spoke a load of bullshit, risked my reputation saying that it was a ref's fault, when deep down it was our fault. So now I'm doing that. We're all in this together. Now, you've got to go out there and do it for not just yourselves, do it for me, do it for the club, do it for the fans, because you let us down tonight. He's got to be that brutal, man. You know what I mean?
I think he does.
And then in the days following at training, again, get them around and say, listen, man, we've got to keep our discipline and do the right things and get this across the line.
Every little detail is scrutinised when it gets to this point of the season. Tottenham play Burnley the day before we go to Newcastle.
Game over.
Yeah, no
They're
point.
They're going to smash Burnley.
I think we need to.
So I'm not even looking at that game to say, well, Burnley might do us a favour, because I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, they're playing Burnley at home. I know Burnley still need points, but Burnley lost their last game. They didn't look very good.
No, Tottenham will kill them.
Tottenham are on a roll. They've got the momentum going. They're not going to lose to Burnley, bro.
You know where this becomes a little bit interesting is the fact Tottenham won the game and everything's been left the way it is. It's kind of no point. It might sound silly. It's kind of no point looking at Spurs results anymore.
No, that's right.
Because it's kind of like, forget what they've done now.
Forget about it.
We've all played our football. The two derbies have been played. We smashed them at the Emirates. They smashed us here. But here's where we're left, a point ahead.
That's right.
Just do your job. It's as simple as that. I'd like to thank someone. No, Brennan in the background thinking him, although he's done a great job today. I'd like to thank Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, yeah?
I'll tell you why. Not for what he did to us at Old Trafford, I will say that. When Tottenham were playing United about a month or two back, and United won that 3-2, Ronaldo hat-trick, I was having a few debates on Twitter, obviously, because what else do you do on Twitter? People saying, we want a draw out of this. We want them to both drop points. And I wanted a United win that day. Because I didn't want Spurs to get any little possible point. Now, what's happened today, because of that late Ronaldo goal,
right.
If Spurs had that extra point, they'd be ahead of us and it'd be out of our control. Now we would be hoping that Burnley do a job or something.
See, that's why I like you see, because you're very strategically in your thinking. You've obviously done your due diligence and realize.
I try.
But you know what it is, right? Like,
I try.
I want to be like now just totally focused on what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 2 games left, 2 must wins. It can't be any more straighter than that. Don't think about what might happen with Tottenham, because the likelihood is, I think it's a very strong likelihood that they're going to win both Burnley and Norwich. Come on, Burnley at home as well. Had they have gone away to Burnley and needed to get a win, I would have been slightly more sceptical. But come on, man, they're going to blow. They're not going to just beat Burnley. They'll probably smash them.
No, I agree.
We've got to go to Newcastle, get the disappointment of tonight out the way.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 days left, so there's still time. Like I said, tonight Arteta's going to have a little go at them, I would hope, and said, listen, man, I've just gone out there and taken it on the chin for you lot. You fucking let me down tonight. What did we say in the lead up to this game about making sure we don't make mistakes? You've just gone out there and fucking sacked it off and made us look like complete plonkers in front of the whole world. Because let's be honest, we are a bit of a life in stock tonight, man.
Yeah, oh, this is embarrassing. Yeah. This is embarrassing.
So the manager's got to be straightforward with them tonight and say, look, fucking hell, what the fuck was that? I thought we planned for this game. I thought we'd done. I thought we spoke about these things, and you've still gone and done it. In the days following, he's going to adopt, I would have thought, a slightly more diplomatic approach, as well as get the tactics and everything spot on for the game, and hope that they go out there and execute on Monday.
Yeah. Yep, agreed. All right, guys, we're going to round off very soon. We'll just go through the final. Robbie is going to join us, everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
He wants to get it off his chest.
Keep the show going. Yeah, I hear that. We're going to play through the final clips. A big thank you to everyone who's been sending their videos in from around the world. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all your support as well. I'm sorry today it didn't go the way we wanted it to. Let's hear what you guys are saying. We'll hear from the Don, and then we'll round it there. Big thanks, Laurie.
No worries, bro.
Hey guys, this is Mitesh from New Zealand. What a disappointing game, I must say. Was really stoked before the match and thought that you would win the match and secure our Champions League spot, but it wasn't happening today. Rob Holding, man, what were you thinking? Son wasn't even threatening too much, but those silly tackles cost us the entire game. And you got to ask questions to the management as well as to why have they given a 3-year deal to Arteta before we've secured a 4th spot. But let's see, only time will tell whether it's a good decision or not. Hopefully we qualify, and let's hope for the best.
AFTV, Jay from Australia. I must say, after recovering COVID, I never expected such a battering loss today. We got hammered 3-0, and I'm really disappointed. But yeah, I must say, Rob Holding cost us the game with his idiotic things, but yeah. Paul Journey, my God, terrible referee, I must say. He has cost us the game. Anyway, on to the Newcastle game. Cheers, everyone.
What's up, guys? Robbie from the US here. This allows me to understand why 90% of Americans think that this sport is a joke, because that is the softest penalty I've seen. And Rob Holding elbowing somebody. Listen, I know we call biscuits, cookies, crisps, chips, fries. I get it, but elbowing somebody, at least over here in the States, is when you use your elbow and you smash it in someone's face. It's not, oh, look at that, a grown-ass man running in full speed in my direction, and I'm going to lift up my arm to, absorb the impact. Oh, second yellow, sent off. I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. I mean, this sport has just gotten so soft. It's gotten so soft. North London Derby, we're fighting for top 4, and 2 calls like that to change the outcome of the game is just a joke. But whatever, listen, it's in our hands still. I think the players can probably have this mentality of, we got hard done by, but let's have the last laugh, and hopefully we bounce back.
Big up to everyone sending in their videos. I'm here with Robbie. How important is it that we make this about Spurs winning the battle but us winning the war? How important is it that we sit there and we go, cool, you had your night. You had your night, well done, hope you enjoyed it. Go win your next 2, Arsenal.
So, it's their night tonight. But whoever finishes in the top 4 will determine whether this season North London is red or North London is white. Because at the end of the day, we smashed them up at our place. We smashed them up at the Emirates. They smashed us up at their place. But who's going to finish higher? And then that's when that comes in, that's when whoever gets that position will have the full bragging rights. That's how I look on it. It's still in our hands. I'm really disappointed about the game today. I agree with Harvey from the US, where he's saying the game's just gone soft. I'm sorry, like he said, it's a North London derby. I ain't seen nobody really appealing. Even some of their fans behind the goal, they weren't even going into big appeal about that. And then the referee just inexplicably gives that as a penalty. I thought it was so soft for a big game like this, for that penalty to be just sort of plucked. It was like, when someone just plucks a penalty out of nowhere. That's what it seemed to me. And I still think that was a soft penalty. But at that stage, you're 1-0 down. Still in the game. What is Rob Holding doing?
Yeah.
That's the one that's really disappointed me today. And it's got a knock-on effect as well, because he's out of the game against Newcastle, and he's a very experienced player. And I could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to rough up Son a bit, but I just think he went over the top. And he deserved to get sent off. I saw Mikel Arteta saying in his press conference that, or saying in his interview after the game, that he doesn't want to talk about the penalty because he'll get suspended. But he was questioning the Rob Holding one. I think, that was definitely a sending off. I heard Conte, though, saying that, telling Mikel Arteta he should stop complaining. Conte has been moaning and whinging all season. But listen, the bragging rights is with them for tonight. But who will the bragging rights be with next week Sunday? And that's what is still in our hands. That's what I want Mikel Arteta to galvanise the team and say, look, they're all shooting off their mouth. They're all saying that, they're like they've already got top 4. There's still a point behind us. Go and win the last 2 games and we're in the top 4. Tonight will mean nothing. Right? So that is the aim for the team. It ain't going to be easy.
Nope.
Newcastle away, Everton at home, but it's not Liverpool away and it's not Man City at home. It's winnable games, just like they've got winnable games. They can slip up, we can slip up. Who's going to hold their nerve over the last 2 games? Whoever does that gets top 4.
Le French says, Robbie, do you think Arteta out if we don't get top 4 after this game?
Rubbish, absolute rubbish.
Even though it wasn't his fault tonight.
No, listen, if we don't get the top 4, we go again. Right? We would have got back into European football. That was we had to do that this season. We've done it. Whatever happens over the next couple of games, we're definitely in the Europa League. They have to back him in the summer. So, of course not. Of course I'm not saying anything about Arteta out. And I think, I feel sorry for him tonight because I do feel he's been let down again by the indiscipline of the players. But I really have to start wondering now, if you look back at this season, if we don't get top 4, that's what's cost us, discipline.
Yeah.
How many games have we had red cards? How many penalties have we given away? I'm not sure of the stats, but how many penalties have we given away this season?
Well, I think we've got something like 14 red cards under Mikel Arteta since he arrived. And I did something on Tactical Insight with Graham, where we actually looked at every single red card. And we basically pinned kind of which ones kind of happen in football, there's not a lot you can do about, and which were incredibly needless. And today feels like another incredibly needless one. And that is when I do start to, and now I'll reiterate, I don't really look at Arteta too much for tonight. Do I think he got it tactically wrong a little bit? Sure. But I'm not really looking at him tonight. I think the players kind of didn't, I think they kind of wilted a little bit under the occasion and the pressure.
We started so well, though. I don't know about the wilt. How did we wilt? Because we started so well. We were the team on the front foot. We were passing the ball around. We looked threatening. until we go and give away that penalty. Just seemed to come out of nowhere for me as well.
I think where the wilting is for me, and Rob Holding names will come up a lot here, is we give away the penalty. Okay, I actually think it's kind of 50-50. I see why it's given. You don't think it's pen, whatever, but he's given it.
No, listen. Sorry, just going back to the penalty, right? It's one of those that from it was given, right? It's not going to get overturned because there is a little, little nudge there, right? Son makes the most of it. There's a little nudge there. I don't think that's enough to be a penalty. But listen, on another day, Skip, we got a penalty the other day against Man United. That was soft. It happens, right? So even though I think the penalty was soft, even though I think, especially for a derby game, I think the referee could have looked on that and thought, all right. But the Rob Holding thing now, that's when I really look at discipline.
But that's where I think the wilting's coming, because we've given away the penalty, but Rob Holding's been getting into these scraps with Son. We read the stat earlier, he committed 4 fouls in the game, all against Son, the most he's committed in a Premier League game ever.
Trying to rough him up.
Yeah, so he's got engaged in that battle he didn't need to. Then we give away the... Then he gets a second yellow and there's a red card. Then we concede another. And then we come out at half-time, we concede one immediately. It was kind of like bang, 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 bang. And Arsenal never really regrouped. And the point they did, it was 3-0. And quite frankly, Spurs probably let us. That's where I think the wilting happened. We didn't... We'd started well. And I almost think there was this element of Arsenal started well, pressed well, were passing the ball around, did okay. Martinelli got in behind once or twice. And you're thinking, okay, this looks quite encouraging. That then when adversity came, ergo the penalty being given, it's like we're like, huh? Now, what do you mean?
Well, I
we started really well. What's going on?
No, I think one man wilted, which is Rob Holding. I don't know what he was on. He was you know what? I think he definitely went out there and said, right, I'm gonna rough up Son a bit. I'm gonna let him know I'm there. But he went over the top. Come on, use this. Use this. Even certain things you used to be able to get away with back in the day, you can't now. There's VAR.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous challenge what he did there. I'm sorry, he's the one that wilted, and then after that you leave your whole team up against it. All game plans are out the window. The manager, you could see, couldn't even bring on Ben White because he's thinking to himself, boy, you know, we're 2-0 down. Why risk him? I'm going to need him for Monday. It was a good decision now, especially when you saw Gabriel kind of look like we come off with a hamstring. That's not going to be great for Monday. We're up against it now. Now we'll find out whether we will or not. We are up against it. And Newcastle at home, their fans are, you know, in a good mood at the moment. You know what I mean? They've survived. I mean, we could do with Burnley doing us a favour. Yeah. But I don't hold out much for that. We got to go and do our thing. And we have to win. We have to win our last 2 games. Even a draw is not good enough. Even if Tottenham, I don't know, Tottenham... we just can't afford to, you know, even if Tottenham drew and we drew, they've got a superior goal difference if it starts coming down to those sort of things. We've got to win.
Yeah.
Got to win the last 2 games.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's end on a high.
It's in our hands. It's in our hands. I think you said it, that, you know, if somebody told you that, you know, at this stage of the season, 2 games to go, it's in your hands also. If you win the last 2 games, you get into the top 4. We'd all take that. We are still in a better position than Tottenham.
Yeah.
I know we're all disappointed. I know we're all upset. We are still in a better position than Tottenham. It's in our hands. If we go and win them 2 games, no matter what, they could win 20-0 at the weekend and 50-0 next week. It means nothing. So that's all the motivation those players should need.
Yeah.
Go and beat Newcastle. Right? Go and beat Newcastle. Beat Everton at home. There'll be, you know, I mean, it will set it up brilliantly. Because if we beat Newcastle, I get the feeling as well. I do feel that Everton could be safe by that game because they've got games in hand over Leeds and Burnley. It sets it up nicely for that last game. We've always had a pretty good record. I think we might have lost last year to Everton actually at home, did we?
We did 1-0.
Yeah, but normally
we lost 3 in a row against them.
Normally at home. With these, no, away from home, you know, we've lost games, but at home we normally beat Everton, right? And you know, Everton have been poor on the road this season, so it's the big one. I think the really big one is on Monday night. That's tough game away at Newcastle, but it's a winnable game. It's in our hands. We're up against it. The squad's threadbare at the moment. I think we have to remember that as well. These players that have come in, I've been talking about it, like Rob Holding, Cedric, they've stood up over the last 4 games. That's why I find it difficult to really go in on them, because over the last few games, West Ham, Chelsea, these guys have come in and stood up. Eddie and Nketiah. Look how many, we have been missing a lot of players in this run-in. We really have. Probably if we hadn't been, we might have been there already. So, you know, they've stood up. But tonight, they were poor. Can this team stand up for 2 more games? 2 more games.
Yep.
That's all it is. 2 more games, 6 points, and the top 4 is ours.
That's the task, guys. And of course, we'll be covering it all on Monday. Tomorrow, we will have to dissect this a little bit more. Expect Tactical Insight and a few other shows. Look out for that across Friday and the weekend, where we will start building up to Newcastle. You're going to Newcastle, aren't you? With
I will be there in Newcastle. Yep.
There you go. Big.
I was absolutely gutted I didn't go to today's game, and then now I'm actually, I'm actually kind of glad, because but listen, we come again, man. There's 2 more games to go.
Yep.
2 more games to go. It's still in our hands. Arsenal are 1 point above Tottenham. We can still get the top 4.
Get it done, Arsenal. Get it done. Big thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Extra big thanks to everyone for sending their videos. Great to hear what you guys are thinking. I know we're all disappointed, but we move. We go again, because it is in our hands, and that has to be the focus now. We'll be covering it all. Check out all the content on AFTV in the coming days, and of course we will be live on Monday as well. We'll round off there, guys. Big thanks. See you next time.